All right. So in a couple, I think, yeah, hour and a half, Ahsoka's gonna be released. Pretty crazy to think that, after all this time, we're gonna finally get the sequel to Rebels, which we've been waiting for quite a long time now. When did Rebels finish? When was the last season of Rebels? It feels like forever. Let me see. I should have checked this before hopping on stream. Okay, 2018. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but it feels like it, you know? So, yeah, 2018, and we thought we were gonna get our an actual 3D animated Rebels sequel, but we get this instead. I mean, this is like hopefully gonna be better, because that's the main thing with Ahsoka. Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be good? I mean, you think it will, because Filoni is running it. But the only reason I asked that question is because, you know, looking back at Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then Mando Season 3, which wasn't terrible, but wasn't, you know, to the standard that we hold Mando to be. Mando was like pretty much the gold standard for Star Wars TV, and Mando Season 3 dropped off hard. Sure, there's still good things about it, for sure, but overall, it didn't hit that hard compared to the other seasons. I mean, heck, Bad Batch. I think Bad Batch was overall more enjoyable. Bad Batch Season 2. More enjoyable than Mando Season 3, is, at least in some parts. Like, I know there were like weeks where I found myself enjoying the Bad Batch episode way more than the Mando Season 3 episode, especially that crosser episode. Ooh, that one was that's still one of my favorite all-time, I guess, like animated Star Wars episodes, because that one was so good. And then going from that to the Mando Season 3 episode that week, which was like chasing a bird, you know, it just was not great. So yeah, that's a big thing with Ahsoka. I'm kind of worried now, because looking back at the recent like series that Star Wars live action series that Lucasfilm has been putting out, they haven't been great. I mean, Andor has been the exception. Even that has not been the best. There have been parts which, I mean, the opening of Andor, like the first 2 episodes were boring. I mean, I'm an Andor fan. Even I found that stuff boring. On the second rewatch, it is better. It is better, but you know, the first time you watch it, it's like, it takes some getting used to. But then afterwards, Andor, it like hits and hits hard, unlike the rest. Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Season 3 Mando. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we're getting 2 episodes start with Ahsoka. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm glad to hear that, because you know, why not? They did it Andor. I mean, wait, Andor gave us 3 episodes for the start, I think. So which was definitely needed. So hopefully these 2 episodes for Ahsoka really, really are good and pull us right from the get-go. Especially the people who, did not watch Rebels. Like, they don't know much about Rebels. Like, they've only been watching the live-action stuff, and Rebels, they just put it on the side because it's like, cartoon stuff for the little kids, so they don't pay much mind to it. So, hopefully the first 2 episodes also pull those people in too, because you don't only want the hardcore fans watching this stuff. Otherwise, it's not gonna get good views. At least not enough that Disney is hoping to be able to keep funding this stuff. So yeah, that's a big question here. Hopefully Ahsoka starts good, and overall it's gonna be good, because there's a lot of questions with this series too. Oh, Alex, you don't have high hopes for the show, sadly. Yeah, got burned so many times from Obi-Wan and Mando 3. Wait, did you like Book of Boba Fett? I mean, if you like Book of Boba Fett, then at least there's some hope. And it definitely helps. It definitely helps if you go into this with low expectations, like I am. I'm trying not to, because like I loved Rebels, and I'm excited to see all the Rebels crew. Well, most of them come back in this, so I'm trying not to get too excited because of the past, TV shows we got from Lucasfilm. But yeah, it definitely helps if you go into this with low expectations. Like, for example, the Flash movie. I went into that with super low expectations and came out really liking it, so that helped. Okay, so you didn't like Book of Bob either. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Book of Bob. We like it wasn't the Boba Fett that we all know and love. It was basically Bob. Bob's book. It started out okay, first like 2 or 3. Yeah, no, it did. It was, they had to show how Boba Fett, like what he was doing on Tatooine that whole time. So it made sense. Like episode 2 of Boba Fett was pretty good, I'd say. It was only after that it started to fall off of the Vespa gang and all that. But yeah, still. I think we deserve the better Boba Fett series. Michael, I'm not gonna be streaming Ahsoka here. That's just asking to get banned. I'm gonna get like a copyright strike. So I don't really need that. So yeah, this is just like a little get together chat, just like, just to talk about the Ahsoka right before it comes out. So I figured, yeah, why not talk about especially some of the questions that we have for Ahsoka before it comes out. So actually, on Twitter I found one person I follow, Jacob's Quest. He actually posted a couple of good questions for the series on, well, whether these questions will be answered in the series. And they're good questions too. I'm just trying to find them right here. There's somewhere. I found posting them. Let me see here. There we go. Okay, so first question that we have before watching Ahsoka, and whether it's going to be answered in the series or not. What was Ahsoka doing on Malachor that prevented her from reuniting with the Ghost Crew in season 4 of Rebels. That's a good one. What was she doing that whole time? So that is, I don't know if we're gonna get that answered. Maybe if there's a flashback. I'm thinking the majority of the flashbacks are hopefully going to be from the Clone Wars, because that's what we want to see, live action Clone Wars. But this is definitely something that it's not major, but it would be nice to get this question answered. Then there's this whole controversial thing regarding Sabine. Whether she's force sensitive or not. So there's 2 questions with this. Number 1, if Sabine is force sensitive, then why did Ahsoka agree to train her when she wouldn't train Grogu? You know? Especially since Grogu was a youngling. He was at the Jedi Temple and everything, and Ahsoka was like, nope. I'm not touching that. I'm not dealing with that whole thing. And then but yet she agrees to train Sabine suddenly now. Like, why? I mean, you can argue, because Sabine is older than Grogu was a baby, so it takes more work. But at the same time, it also takes a lot of work when a person's older, if anything, even more so, because, that was the whole thing with, the Phantom Menace and the Jedi Council not wanting to train, agree to Anakin getting trained because he's too old, especially Luke. He was especially old, and, the only reason he became so good was, his dad was the chosen one, and he himself, the whole New Hope aspect of Star Wars, and he especially had a really good teacher in Yoda. Whether Ahsoka is a good teacher or not, we don't know, because, you can't compare Ahsoka with Yoda. Yoda had so many Padawans. Ahsoka did not really teach anybody. She never had her own Padawan, so yeah, a lot of questions of that. But the second question of the Sabine is, if Sabine is not force sensitive, then why bother training her at all? Like, the war is over, and they haven't even left to find Ezra yet, so what's this training for? I mean, Sabine is already a Mandalorian warrior. She's a bounty hunter, so she can definitely handle herself with just her Mando gear, her blasters, and all that. So, and she already has some training, of the Darksaber. So it's like, what is the point with all this? Like, if you're not force sensitive, why bother training her with a lightsaber? Is like, she already was decent with the Darksaber, so yeah, that's gonna be something that's gonna need to be answered. I don't know if it's gonna be answered in the first 2 episodes that we're getting, but hopefully it does get answered. Well, it better be answered. Come on. This is pretty big. This is pretty big, so it's gonna have to be answered. Come on. All right. Next question that we have when going into Ahsoka is, why did they wait so long to go look for Ezra? Like, was there a previous failed attempt in the last 9 years? I mean, they really took their time to search for Ezra. So, what is the reason for that? Were they hoping that Ezra will come back to them by himself? And then after waiting all that time, they're like, okay, well, He's not here. I guess we gotta go look for him ourselves. So, that's a question right there. Next question is, when did Ahsoka meet Luke? And did they tell each other everything they know? So, this series is taking place after Mando. After the Book of Boba Fett. So, as we saw there, Luke and Ahsoka already know each other. So the whole thing is whether we're gonna get a flashback or anything on seeing Ahsoka and Luke meet. Because, come on, we were kind of robbed of not, seeing that being shown to us. So that would have been pretty cool. So if they do touch on this topic, then hopefully it's a flashback. And that would be pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't be angry if there is no flashback and there's just a throwaway line of Ahsoka explaining to, I don't know, Sabine or somebody, oh, I met Luke Skywalker here and here. We talked for a bit. I told him so-and-so, and he went on his own way, and I went my own way, and, something else happens in the episode. So I wouldn't be angry if we get something, simple and small like that, but it would be cool to get a little flashback. Wouldn't lie, it would be cool. And, yeah. Hopefully they even touch on this, answer this question. Because if they go through the whole 8-episode series and don't even mention Luke or when did Ahsoka meet Luke, where she met him or whatever, then yeah, that would be poor form from them, especially Filoni. All right, we got 2 more questions here that we have. The second last question is, it's been 5 years since Anakin's death. Has he appeared to Ahsoka as a Force ghost yet at all? So, you think he has? You'd assume he would, right? Qui-Gon Jinn, appeared to his Padawan, Obi-Wan, as a Force ghost. He had that ability, so that's why he did it. And Anakin has that ability, so... And he was pretty close with Ahsoka, Snips. So... You'd think he would. But that also goes with another question. Has Anakin ever appeared to Luke, his son, as a Force ghost? So... I don't think we're gonna get that question answered about Anakin appearing to Luke as a Force ghost, but this is a lot more likelier because the whole series is from Ahsoka's point of view and all that. So, if she's even gonna mention about Anakin appearing to her as a Force ghost, yeah. That's something I'm wondering whether... I mean, that should be answered, right? Hopefully. And the last question. And this one's pretty big. This question I really hope is gonna get answered because this is a pretty important one. Where was Ahsoka during the events of the entire original trilogy? A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, where was she? Was she doing something more important than all of that which was happening, going on in the galaxy? What was she doing? You can't tell me that the whole time she was, wandering around by herself looking for Thrawn, while, all of this was happening. And, like, she knew Thrawn was part of the Galactic Empire, and she had to know that the rebels were fighting back against the Empire, kicking the Empire's butt by taking down the first Death Star, then, destroying the second Death Star, Darth Vader dying, Luke Skywalker fighting against the Empire, and all of that, and she just did not care. Especially, as we saw in Rebels, how close she was to the rebellion, the effort of the rebellion. She was Fulcrum, or one of the Fulcrums. So, she actually cared for the rebellion, and she wanted to help. So, where was she this entire time? Sure, she could be still searching for Thrawn, but at the same time, also still helping the rebellion. But no, that whole entire time, we don't know where she is. So, yeah, this I definitely hope gets answered. And, the answer better be a good one. So, Alex, you're going to take a bet and say nothing will get answered. Oh, come on. I mean, it's Filoni. He's a Star Wars, geek like all of us, and he knows people, hardcore fans like us are going to be tuning into this show to get answers for, questions that we have. And yeah, I'm not expecting all of these to be answered, but some of these, it makes sense to get them answered, especially in a series that's, all about Ahsoka, and all these questions are around Ahsoka. So, yeah, hopefully it does get answered, because it would suck if we go through the whole series and we have more questions than we had from before the series. So, well, yeah, of course we're still gonna have new questions, but even our old questions were not even answered. We're just questions piling on questions, new questions piling on old questions. It's when are they gonna answer all of this? And you could say, oh, yeah, it's gonna get answered in a book or in a comic. Don't have to pay attention to this. Don't have to answer all of this in live action series. Why would you do that? Because first of all, ever since Filoni stopped pretty much giving a damn about the books and then the comics, and just retconning and just doing his own thing, it's at this point, I don't know about you guys, but I personally don't pay too much attention to the novels and the comics as I once used to. Ever since Filoni started retconning that, so because it's yeah, this is cool. This is cool and informative information that you can get from these sources, but at the same time, it's cool stories, first and foremost. But at the same time, if you're someone like me, just reading it for the canon lore, and then afterwards it just gets retconned. It's just so it's oh, you read all of that, and now all of that has been for nothing. None of that means anything anymore in the canon lore. It was canon for a time, and now it's no longer canon. It's like the legends of canon. I don't know. It's its own EU. It's fake. It's fake news. It's fictional. Whatever, pretty much that. And Filoni introduces his own version of, the canon version of whatever happened in the novels and the comics. So, yeah, That's the thing. So if like Filoni doesn't answer these questions in the series, then sure, a comic or novel can answer it, but then that begs the question: how canon? Like, what's the validity of the canon of those answers? And how long will those answers stay, canon? Maybe if Ahsoka gets a season 2, and then Filoni will answer those questions in a season 2, then again he'll just retcon the novel and the comic, which didn't like give us the answers we were seeking. So yeah, like that's why I don't really want to count on a novel or a comic to give us the answers that we want, because why, when we can get it straight from the live action source? And the live action stuff, like the live action and animated stuff, that is the primary basis of canon. If it happens there, then it's 100% canon. But if something happens in the novels and the comics, that's like secondary canon. It's like it's canon to a certain point until it gets retconned in the live action, animated, or heck, the games. I think even the games are above the novels and the comics in I guess like a canon tier list, if you know what I'm trying to say here. Which, yeah, that did kind of irk me, because when Disney bought Lucasfilm and they got rid of the old EU, now called Legends, and they're like, okay, everything we do now, it's going to be canon. Everything's on the same level. Because, yeah, the old EU, that was it had its own tier list of canon accuracy. The George Lucas canon was at the very top, and then from then on, it depending whether it was in a novel, video game, the canon accuracy just dropped off. It didn't mean much, and to be fair, a lot of that didn't mean anything in George Lucas's canon, so it was weird. But here, everything is supposed to be canon. Well, all the sources, the TV, the games, the comic books, novels, all of that is supposed to share the same canon lore, and that's how it started. But Filoni kind of broke that. So yeah, if he doesn't care about that, and he just cares whatever he puts out, that is the definitive canon lore, then yeah, he better answer these questions, because I won't be able to fully believe the answer to these questions in a novel or a comic book. At least that's just me. But yeah, how about you guys? I know some of you, like Alex, don't have high expectations for Ahsoka, which again is to be fair. And like I said, it is not a bad thing to go into Ahsoka with low expectations, because you'll get surprised, positively surprised, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. You may end up enjoying, the series a lot more than if you went into it with super high expectations. So yeah. What's up, Baby Yoda? Looking forward to Ahsoka. That's another thing. if Grogu is gonna make a cameo, I mean, wouldn't surprise me if there is if Mando and Grogu do make a short cameo. Although it would have to be tasteful. They couldn't just like force them in there and be like, "Hey everybody, look, it's Baby Yoda." Like in case like the episode is kind of like slogging through and it's like not too great, and then suddenly be like oh crap, we gotta do something. Bring out Baby Yoda. That would that would not be good. I would not be happy with a cameo like that. Another cameo that I'm like my own question here especially is if Luke is gonna make an appearance, like if he's gonna make an actual substantial appearance in this series, because like he kind of has to, right? Like all this is happening, and especially like all these like dark Jedi and everything, and Luke is kind of just ignoring it. Then it's kind of like goes of the same question with like what was Ahsoka doing during the entire like original trilogy era. So it's like what was Luke doing during this whole time with Thrawn making his comeback to the galaxy and trying to fight against the New Republic, you know? As we know in Legends, Luke was doing a lot. He was on the front lines. He was basically the main character. Obviously, that is not going to be happening here. Ahsoka is like... Ahsoka is basically replacing Luke, so... which, you know, okay, fair enough, but... Well, does that mean Luke is going to be ignored completely? Is he going to make any appearance on the show? And yeah, that's a question to have here, like a reasonable one. And if Luke, you know, isn't on the show, then yeah, they better have a good explanation for that. You can't, because Luke is not at that point, like in his life, where he just says screw it and becomes a hermit on a little tiny island, and just ignores whatever's happening in the galaxy. You know, that happens later on. Like, this is still a young Luke, where he still cares. He still is fighting for the greater good in the galaxy. So, where is he during this time in the Ahsoka series? I mean, sure, he doesn't show up in the trailer, which is probably a good thing, because I think it would be a lot more better and cooler if he just, like, you know, is just surprise. He just surprises all of us and just shows up randomly, and then is somewhat of a regular character in the series, a side character, of course, because Ahsoka and Sabine are going to be, like, you know, the two mains. But yeah, as long as he has a decent amount of screen time, or even if he doesn't and it's just like a short cameo, then that better be one darn good cameo. Maybe like shows up right at the end again and basically takes down this major plan that Thrawn had, and like, let's say Thrawn beats Ahsoka and Sabine, locks them up, and yeah, Luke shows up and saves the whole day. Although at the same time, people would complain about that too, if that were to happen, if you think about it, because that would just be retreading Luke saving the day in Mando Season 2. So, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. If you're going to use Luke, you got to be careful. Well, either way, I have faith in Filoni that he knows what he's doing with this series. So, hopefully it should be good. Regarding Ahsoka and Sabine, they're of course the two main characters here, but I'm curious to see how their screen time is going to be shared, especially in the scenes that, you know, they have their own separate solo scenes, because episode 1 is definitely gonna start off with Ahsoka doing her own thing and Sabine doing her own thing, which is not really much by the looks of it, on Lothal, just sitting there waiting for Ezra to come back. So yeah, that will be interesting to see how much screen time they share by doing that. I don't think Sabine's gonna have that much screen time in episode 1, because, like, you know, there's not really that much they could show or Sabine could be doing, just like, you know, lounging around Ahsoka's apartment. Not Ahsoka's apartment, Ezra's apartment. Ahsoka's a nomad. She doesn't have a place that she calls home. At least we don't think she does. So yeah, that will be interesting. I think once they basically join forces, that's when we start seeing a lot more of Sabine, and, you know, Sabine gets a haircut. And I gotta say too that short hair Sabine, like, live action, looks really good. Because, like, you know, when we first saw Sabine in the trailers, she had, like, you know, the long hair, and it was kind of like, okay, that's not bad, but it doesn't really look like Sabine, because, you know, Sabine never had long hair in Rebels, and at the end of Rebels, like, she always had short hair, and at the end of Rebels, she, like, you know, went all out on the short hair. Like, it was like almost like not a buzz cut, but yeah, it it was really short and it didn't look good. But here now, I think the live action version of Sabine with short hair looks like really good, and definitely is an improvement over her having the long hair. I'm thinking that Sabine with the long hair is only going to be like an episode 1 kind of deal, and then episode 2, if Sabine and Ahsoka, like, you know, come together and start their journey to search for Ezra, that's when Sabine's gonna get a haircut, and, you know, for a majority of the series, well, no, for pretty much the whole rest of the series, it's gonna be Sabine with short hair, which is good. She looks good that way. Way better with the long hair. It just long hair Sabine just doesn't really feel like Sabine, and this is also. I think the live-action Sabine with the short hair is supposed to be the live-action version of, like, at the end of Rebels, except that Sabine in animated form with the super short hair did not look good. This Sabine with short hair looks good, and it's kind of more like, to me, feels like just like regular short hair Sabine. So, yeah, I have no issue with that. I mean, that was like actually one of my main concerns way back when Rebels finished. And there was talk about, you know, the Rebels sequel, and be like, oh, okay, well, if we get a Rebels sequel and it's animated and all that, then we're gonna have to get we're gonna get Sabine looking like that again with the super short hair, and I didn't like that look, and I wasn't in any rush to get a Rebels sequel with Sabine looking like that. So this is definitely a big improvement over that, I'd say. You know, if they're trying to make her look like she was at the end of Rebels, then I'd say they failed. I say they failed because she looked bad there, and here she looks good. The hair looks a decent. Yeah, it looks decent. And also, another thing too, regarding the Dark Jedi here, I'm also wondering what is their connection with the Inquisitors? Because like we see like I'm expecting episode 1 to basically be with Ahsoka fighting one of the Inquisitors that we see in the trailer. I think that Inquisitor actually has a name. I think it's like Morrow or something. I don't know, something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Marok. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know. I was thinking Morrow, but yeah, Marok. So, yeah, this Inquisitor. What do we really know about this Inquisitor? First of all, how did this Inquisitor even survive through the entire original trilogy? Like, how did he not get killed yet by Ahsoka or Luke? that alone deserves to be like questioned and answered. I mean, did Luke even kill any Inquisitors? I don't think he did. I mean, unless there's like a new comic or novel that came out where Luke managed to, I don't know, kill an Inquisitor, then I must have missed it. But yeah, I don't think he did. And I mean, by the time Luke actually became like a Jedi Knight, I don't think there were that many Inquisitors left. I mean, like by the time I Return of the Jedi, I assumed that they're all dead. So, you know, this guy Marok surviving, it would have been nice to have Luke take him out. So you could say that, you know, that hey, even Luke Skywalker killed an Inquisitor. But no, it looks like Ahsoka's gonna have to do it. And Ahsoka's been like fighting Inquisitors the whole time, so you know, Ahsoka killing this Inquisitor isn't gonna it's not gonna feel any special because we've seen it happen before, and those times were pretty darn good, especially in Tales of the Jedi. You know, that episode was good. So I think that was the only good Ahsoka episode for me. I wasn't a fan of the baby Ahsoka episode. I know there are people who do love that episode, but it just wasn't for me. So yeah, I'm curious to learn how this Inquisitor survived and what's his deal with the Dark Jedi. Whether he worked with them or he was fighting against them, I don't know. Because like, what are the names? I think one of them is named Shin, and I think the other guy's Balin, right? Those two Dark Jedi. Yeah, they were not. At least we don't think. No way. They're not of the Galactic Empire, and the Inquisitors work for the Galactic Empire. So, Inquisitors are pretty much like trying to kill everybody like every Jedi who, wasn't with the Empire. And these two Dark Jedi were not of the Empire, so yeah, I wonder if the Inquisitor even knows about these guys, or if he does, if he tried fighting against them, or were they teammates? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm assuming that these, like the Baylan and Shin are working for Thrawn. But actually, wait. But Thrawn is also part of the Galactic Empire. So, would that mean that Shin and Baylan are also... No, they're not... Okay, so maybe... Okay, all right. Let me backtrack here. So if Shin and Baylan are working for Thrawn, then they're in a way also working with the Empire, but they're not officially part of the Empire. Like, for example, the Inquisitors. Like, they had an official status in the Empire. Shin and Baylan do not, and even then, even if they were working with Thrawn, like, since his disappearance, I think they were working with Thrawn's Imperial faction. Let's just say that. And because Thrawn's Imperial faction was lost, somewhere in the galaxy, then Thrawn did not have any contact with the rest of the Empire. So, like, if these two worked with Thrawn and Thrawn had contact with the rest of the Galactic Empire, then, Palpatine would know about Baylan and Shin. But Palps did not, because we assume that Thrawn has had no contact with the Empire since his disappearance. Especially in the Mando, they're talking about Thrawn's return. So it's just like, return from where? Was he lost? Did he show up and go off somewhere and now he's supposed to return? Or was he lost and no one's heard from him since, and now he's returning? So I think that scenario is more likely. So if Palpatine, I was gonna say, Palpatine is still alive and he saw Thrawn come back, then he'd be like, oh dang, you got yourself two Dark Jedi with Shin and Baylan. But yeah, obviously Palps is still alive, but he's he's on Exegol, and yeah, that's also another question. Is Palpatine Exegol even, like, does he know what is going on with the rest of the galaxy in terms of, like, Thrawn's comeback? Thrawn having apparently Baylan and Shin working for him and all that. And what would he think about that? I mean, to be fair, if anything, you can also view Shin and Baylan as, like, unofficial Inquisitors, because the Inquisitors were pretty much Dark Jedi. They weren't Sith. They were just, they were Jedi that, went to the dark side. So, hence, Dark Jedi. Which, from what we can see, that's basically what Baylan and Shin are. Like, I think I heard that they aren't Sith, so if they're not Sith, then they're just Dark Jedi. Because that's what pretty much what you can be. There are three possibilities. Either you're a Sith, and you either start as a Sith from the get-go, like Palpatine, Darth Maul, or, you transition from a Jedi to a Sith, like Count Dooku, Anakin, or you're a dark Jedi, and you transition from being a Jedi who goes to the dark side and becomes a dark Jedi, or you're just like none of that. You're not a dark Jedi, or you're not a Sith. You're just like a dark Force user. For example, Kylo Ren. He was neither a Sith nor a dark Jedi. So, if anything, I'm thinking Baylan might be a dark Jedi, and Shin, since she's young, so there's no way. I don't think she was from the Clone Wars. So if Baylan found her afterwards and started training her, then she's probably just a dark side Force user. I might be wrong. Maybe she was like his former not former. She was his Padawan from the Clone Wars, and they escaped Order 66, and he just continued her training, but skewed more towards the dark side, and she went from a Jedi to dark Jedi, just like Baylan. But I don't know. She's young, so that's a bit questionable for me whether that's the case or not. So yeah, we're gonna see. But that is those are basically my main questions before we jump into Ahsoka. Oh, I just realized that the Ahsoka trailer, it says Ahsoka comes out on August 23rd. Well, I guess they changed that. So originally Ahsoka was supposed to come out on August 23 on Wednesday, but they moved it one day ahead, which is not a bad thing. It is going to be a bit weird, though, that new episodes are going to drop every Tuesday. That is a bit, that's going to take a bit getting used to. Because, before we had new episodes drop on Fridays, then it was Wednesdays, now it's Tuesdays. I like Fridays the best. New Star Wars live action series episodes dropping every Friday, because basically you end the week off with you have something more to look forward to at the end of the week, more than just a weekend. You had also a new Star Wars episode to look forward to, and the weekend. So that was the best. Having a new Star Wars episode drop midweek, sure, I'll take it, but it's not gonna beat having a new episode on a Friday, ending a week off with a new Star Wars episode. Not gonna beat that. Yeah, the whole time also, I forgot to talk about Thrawn and Ezra, which I kind of feel that Ezra especially is kind of put in just the background. There's not much talk about him. All this talk right now just have to take a drink of water. But all this talk that we're seeing pre-Ahsoka release is, understandably about Ahsoka, Sabine, Shin, and Baylan, mainly because they're brand new. We've never seen it before, so just that alone. And, of course, Thrawn. But what about Ezra? What was he doing? You know, and he doesn't show up in the trailer at all. Aside from that, one hologram that Sabine is watching. So it's like, what has Ezra been doing? And I did do like a theory video about this like years and years ago. It got a lot of views, surprisingly. It kind of went viral. Even though now when I look at that video, it's not a good video, but would have done it a lot differently nowadays. But yeah, I am wondering, like, since Ezra, disappeared into the abyss with the Purgle and Thrawn, he was stuck aboard that Star Destroyer full of, with Thrawn and full of, like, Imperials, like stormtroopers and all that. So, like, did he just make friends with all of them? He'd be like, hey, okay, guys, we're, like, stuck in the middle of nowhere, and it's just us, so, yeah, you guys want to be pals? Like, no point of fighting anymore. Like, we're stuck out here, and doesn't look like we're gonna be free anytime soon. And that also looked like to be the case, because they were gone for a long time. So I am wondering what happened right after Thrawn and Ezra disappeared. And that's another question, actually, if whether the series will answer that. Will it give us a flashback or like explain like what exactly happened once Thrawn and Ezra disappeared at the end of Rebels? Like, where did they go? What did they do? Did Ezra stick around for long, or did he like immediately like dip, like run away the very second he could? Or not? Like, I don't know. Like, it's that is a big question that yeah, again, another one to add to the list that I hope gets answered. Because if they don't answer that and just like, and just ignore that and just go on of the show, then it's gonna be like, it's gonna make you it's gonna confuse you. You're gonna be watching like Rebels, like somebody who's gonna like watch Rebels, watch season 4 of Rebels, and then like the finale, and then right after they're gonna jump into Ahsoka, and then suddenly there's like Thrawn and Ezra. Be like, okay, what happened in between that time? Where did Thrawn and Ezra go? It just, yeah, I can't see them not answering that. That would be so dumb if they choose to ignore that. Because, that, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential to be had, with that answer. And it could be a hard thing to answer, but, I would call Filoni a coward if he wouldn't answer that. He would just pretend, oh, they went off to space and they did something, but don't worry about that. Look what Ahsoka is doing right now. Oh, she's fighting Inquisitor. Oh yeah, let's pay attention to this more. Yeah, I want to pay attention to that too. But I also want to get that question answered, because that's a big question. That is a big question for sure. All right, so we are nearing the Ahsoka release in about 12 minutes now. Ahsoka is going to go live on Disney Plus. And yeah, we're going to be watching 2 episodes. Won't mind if episode 1 is going to be a little bit slow, as long as episode 2, picks things up. Because, that was the whole thing of Andor. Episode 1 and 2 were so slow, but episode 3 pick things up and, hyped you up for the next episode. So hopefully that will also be the case with Ahsoka. So, hey, they can have both episodes be, like high adrenaline rushes and all of that. Won't have a problem if they do that, if it's done well. But hey, as long as episode 2 ends up with hype, then I'll be happy. I can't see anybody who would have a problem with that. But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts right before Ahsoka releases. I don't really have anything else that I have in terms of questions that I already mentioned. Again, I just hope that it's gonna be good. It doesn't have to answer every single question, but it should definitely answer some questions that we have, and at least touch a little bit on like the threads that we were wondering about. And it doesn't even have to be fully fledged answers too. At least just give us like little bits and pieces. I'll be happy with that too. Just something. And then afterwards, even of the bits and pieces, at least that's some material to speculate on. So that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. So yeah. All right. So 19 minutes to go. So I think we'll end it off here. Especially nobody else has any questions or concerns of their own heading into Ahsoka. Hopefully it will be good. Hopefully it will break the trend that Lucasfilm has kind of put itself in with live action Star Wars. And Ahsoka is gonna be good. The Acolyte is gonna be good. Andor season 2. Like I can't see that not being good. Especially it's gonna end off right going into Rogue One. So yeah, hopefully the trend of not okay. I don't want to say bad because even the bad Star Wars is still like somewhat good still, but the not good, like the disappointing Star Wars live action series. Hopefully this puts an end to all of that, and we can all be hyped again for live action Star Wars. And heck, even if we do get season 2 of Book of Boba Fett, would be nice for Robert Rodriguez to learn from his the mistakes he made in season 1 and give us the Boba Fett that we want in season 2, and so on. And if Ahsoka does really well, then would be cool to get season 2 of Ahsoka. Or maybe it wouldn't make sense if you think about it. Season 2 Ahsoka, like, because I know, like, Filoni is going to be doing a Star Wars movie that's basically going to be the conclusion of the Mandoverse, with apparently Thrawn as the main big baddie. So if they do an Ahsoka season 2, what would be like that about? Would they still be searching for Ezra? I'd imagine they would find Ezra at the end of Ahsoka season 1. But I don't know. And even then, can they keep, like, having Thrawn as the bad guy, but at the same time not being the main bad guy because they're trying to save him for the movie? How much can you keep, like, going about that? So, yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a Ahsoka season 2. One way out. Yeah, that was such a good Andor episode. Oh, Jason, you have high hopes for the show? Okay, yeah, cool, definitely, yeah. Nothing wrong with having high hopes for it, if you have high hopes for it, awesome. If you have low hopes for it, you have low expectations, and you find yourself being positively surprised, then even better. Like you can't really go wrong. So, yeah, we'll see. Like an Ahsoka season 2 right now, before seeing Ahsoka, doesn't really make much sense if you think about it, because what really can they do? But that's all gonna change depending on how season 1 ends. I'm calling season 1. It's technically how the series. No, but if the series ends, then there's no season 2. Whatever. It's all gonna depend on how these 8 episodes end. And then afterwards, we could be like, oh yeah, season 2 definitely makes sense because they still gotta do this and that and that. And find Ezra, But if the 8 episodes go by and they find Ezra and they're just about to enter a big battle of Thrawn, then it's like, yeah, the Ahsoka season 2 for Ahsoka makes no sense because it's literally not gonna. It's gonna take chunks from the actual Filoni conclusion to the Mandoverse movie, so that would not, yeah, you wouldn't really want to do that. But yeah, we'll see whether questions will be answered, how many of them will be answered, what has Ahsoka been doing this entire time, what has Ezra been doing this entire time. We know what Sabine was. Well, we can assume we know what Sabine was doing this entire time. Not really much on Lothal. And hopefully another thing too, Hera, because watching in the trailers, the makeup and everything, it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not really sold on it yet, 100%. I much prefer Hera's look in Star Wars Squadrons. Especially since that's the original voice actress portraying as Hera, so she's got the look and the sound of it to a T. But this Hera, this live action Hera, I don't know. I have to watch I have to see an episode of her in it, and maybe she'll convince me that she could do a good job. We'll see. Jason, you like all Star Wars but prefer Legends? Yeah. And hey, this is so you might not like this as much as the Legends version of Heir to the Empire, Heir to the Empire. I don't know why I said hair. Because that one was done particularly well, especially with Luke as the main character. But this might be better. I don't know why I'm already assuming that the Legends version is better. That's I guess that's because I know all about the Legends version and know almost nothing about this, because we don't know anything about this because the series is not out yet. It's going to be coming out very soon. Just in about 10 minutes. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream and actually now before I keep on talking, and then it's gonna we're gonna be going a little bit overboard in terms of because actually I was just planning on doing this stream for 30 minutes, and it's already been an hour and 12 minutes. So yeah. It's kind of just talk a bit, just chill a little bit. It'd be right before Ahsoka comes out. And yeah, we pretty much did that. Excited about The Mandalorian coming to physical media, 4K and Blu-ray. Oh yeah, I heard about that. It's not for me because I don't really collect physical media like that. The only physical stuff I do collect is like, I guess like, the Black Series figures, like the Hot Toys, like Star Wars statues, stuff like that. The Blu-rays and stuff, the Blu-rays and DVDs, I don't really collect that. I do have some, of course I do have Star Wars VHS and DVDs of the original trilogy and prequels, but that was I got all that in a time when, you couldn't stream it online or, have easily accessible, easily access the digital copies, so you kind of needed it. But nowadays, yeah, like, again, it's not for me, but I'm happy. I'm happy for the people who do collect that and want that. And yeah, definitely it's good to have, especially if, you stop paying for your Disney Plus subscription, and yeah, why not still have a way to watch all that stuff? Especially it's the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, which are, arguably the 2 best seasons. So yeah, to be able to watch that anytime, anywhere, without a subscription, without internet access, is definitely a plus. And for collectors who want to have that in their physical collection as they collect that kind of stuff, then, all the more power to them. So, yeah. Yeah, Jason, talking about Star Wars is fun. I haven't done one of these streams. I mean, the last time I did one of these talking Star Wars streams was, like, before Mando Season 2, and that was a while ago. That was a long time ago, so, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, for sure. But, yeah, I'm gonna end it off here, guys. Thanks for coming by and having a little chat about our thoughts, concerns, questions, excitement that we may have for Ahsoka, as we will soon be finding out whether those concerns were justified, whether our questions will be answered in just about 8 minutes. Should have done like a little countdown screen on the stream, so like show us a live countdown of when Ahsoka is gonna be able to watch. But yeah, actually they want to get some popcorn and get all ready for when Ahsoka is released on Disney Plus, so I'm gonna need some time to do that. So yeah. Yeah, so that will do it for me, guys. Hey, we gotta do this again. So, I'll see you guys on the next Talking Star Wars stream. But until then, I'll see you on the next review that I do on Ahsoka. Because I'll do a review video first before I do a stream. Just to get all my thoughts, and hopefully it's gonna be a positive one. Hopefully, I do not want him to do a negative review. Those are not fun to do. Yeah. All right, guys. It was nice chilling with you. I'll see you on the next stream, or if you will watch a review video, I'll see you there too. All right. May the Force be with you guys. Take care.